The rain poured down on São Paulo as if the sky had given up on containing its pain. The lights of the Tietê River reflected off the accumulated water, creating a maze of broken mirrors beneath the car tires. It was almost midnight when the black Porsche 911 lost control on the curve near the Guarulhos overpass. Inside the car, Rafael Mendes was still trying to understand what had happened. A truck slammed on its brakes. He swerved. The asphalt was wet. The rear tire skidded. The car spun, rolled twice, and came to a stop on its side, its roof crumpled and the engine smoking. Rafael was trapped. His seatbelt was stuck. A deep cut on his forehead was oozing blood from his right eye. He was having trouble breathing. His cell phone, thrown in the back seat, was cracked and had no signal. He tried to shout. No one was passing by. The city remained alive, but indifferent. The first to see him was Camila Ribeiro, a nurse at the Hospital das Clínicas, returning from her shift. She was riding a black Honda CB500, wearing a leather jacket and a full-face helmet. She stopped a few meters later and looked in the rearview mirror. "There's someone in the car," she murmured, her voice low, almost to herself. She got out. She approached carefully. The man was unconscious but breathing. She touched his neck, a weak but present pulse. His training said, "Don't move the victim. Wait for SAMU." But his instincts said, "Something is wrong here." She called 192. "This is Nurse Camila Ribeiro. CRM Tonpos 874. Accident on the Tietê River near the Guarulhos overpass. A car overturned, the occupant trapped. A man, apparently 40 years old, has a head injury, is breathing but unconscious. He needs immediate rescue," she said urgently but subduedly. "SAMU on the way, ma'am. Keep your distance. There may be a risk of explosion." She looked at the man's face. Expensive suit, gold watch, the smell of expensive cologne mixed with blood. "I'm sorry, brother," he whispered, with a mixture of guilt and weariness. "But I've already done what I could." He got on his bike and rode on. Not out of malice, out of exhaustion, out of fear, because he'd seen so many times the system fail even when someone does the right thing. Minutes later, a white Range Rover drove slowly past. At the wheel was Andre Luis, pastor of the New Covenant Church, returning from a healing service attended by thousands of worshippers. "Look at this," he said to the driver, with a tone of feigned pity. "Accident," the driver hesitated. "Would you stop, Reverend?" "No, we've already prayed for those lives. God is faithful. If it's His will, He will save them," he replied with cold conviction. He took out his cell phone and took a picture of the smoking car. He wrote in the caption, "Praying for this brother on the Tietê River. Road violence is a cry for help from the nation. May God protect him." Prayer por Faith More São Paulo posted. Thousands of likes in minutes. Comments like "Amen" and "God is faithful" poured in. No one came to help. It was then that Diego Silva appeared. He was walking, backpack on his back, worn clothes, and sneakers with holes. He'd just gotten out of prison after serving 5 years for drug trafficking. He never used drugs. He was only caught with a package he didn't even know what was inside. He was young. He was desperate. He accepted $300 to carry a suitcase from Brás to Santana. He was arrested, tried, convicted. Now he was trying to start over. He lived with his mother, Mrs. Iracema, 68, who suffered from kidney failure in a wooden house in Pirituba. When he saw the car, he didn't think. He ran. "Hey, hey, can you hear me?" He shouted urgently, banging on the glass. Nothing. He tried to open the door. It was stuck. The glass was cracked. He used his elbow. It hurt. It bled. But it broke. "Come on, man. Let's get out of here," he said, his voice firm but worried. He unbuckled his seatbelt with difficulty. He dragged Rafael outside, laying him on the sidewalk. He checked his airway. He was breathing, but barely. "I need help," he said, with contained desperation. He called Tavinho, his childhood friend, who had an old car. "Tavi, it's urgent. There's a guy here injured. I need you to come now," he said, his voice trembling with anxiety. "Are you crazy? It's midnight. What if it's a scam? Tavinho, he's bleeding. It's serious," he shouted, tears in his eyes. "Okay, I will. But if it's a trap, I'll kill you." While he waited, Diego took off his coat, the only one he had, and covered Rafael. He grabbed a bologna sandwich and a bottle of water from his backpack. "I'll moisten your lips." "Water might help," he said carefully, as if speaking to a brother. When Tavinho arrived, they helped put Rafael in the back seat. "Shall we go to the municipal hospital?" "No, pro das clínicas. It's closer and has an ICU," Diego replied with unexpected authority. On the way, Diego held Rafael's head, preventing him from hitting it. "Hang in there, brother. You'll be okay," he whispered, his voice soft, almost a prayer. In the emergency room, the scene changed. "Who is this?" the nurse asked coldly. I found him at the accident, Diego said. He was trapped in the car. And who are you? Diego Silva, I just helped. Do you have documents? I didn't bring it. A security guard approached. Did this guy do something? No, Diego said firmly. I only saved his life. Even so, you'll have to leave. Without documents, you can't stay. But I want to know if he's going to be okay, he insisted, his voice breaking. It's not allowed. We'll need you to leave. Diego looked at Rafael, still unconscious, being taken into surgery. Okay, he said quietly with resignation. I just hope he wakes up. And he left. No name, no record. No thanks. Rafael woke up 17 days later, fragmented memory. Body pain, bright light. Where am I? He asked weakly. Hospital das Clínicas, the doctor said. You were in a serious accident. You had surgery, but you're stable. How did I survive? A man pulled him out of the car before Samu arrived. Without him, you wouldn't have stood a chance, he replied admiringly. Who was it? We don't know. No one registered it. We only have one report from a driver who brought you. He said it was a man with a backpack, an ex-convict. Rafael closed his eyes. An ex-con saved me? He muttered in disbelief. Something stirred inside him. A mixture of shame, gratitude, and curiosity. 2 weeks later, Rafael was home, still weak, but determined. He hired Eduardo Falcão, a private detective with a reputation for solving obscure cases. I want to know who saved me, he said firmly. And I want to thank them. I'll need time, Falcão said seriously. And access to cameras. You have my card. Use whatever you need, Falcon started. He checked CET cameras, gas stations, and 24-hour stores. Nothing, until, at a Shell gas station at 11:47 p.m., he saw a man with a backpack helping another into a car. The driver, Tavinho, he tracked the car. The license plate was cloned, but the driver's face was familiar, Antonio Tavinho Oliveira, with a criminal record for theft, but a friend of Diego Silva, an ex-convict released from Tremembe Penitentiary 3 months ago. Falcão went to Pirituba and found Diego working in a workshop, covered in grease, laughing with his colleagues. Diego Silva? It is me. I'm Eduardo Falcão. I'm investigating an accident. A man was saved by someone matching your description, he said respectfully. I don't know anything. Were you on the Tietê riverfront on the night of the 12th? Diego looked at the floor. I was, he admitted quietly. And he helped a man in a suit? Yes, but I don't want any trouble. You're not in trouble. On the contrary, I want you to meet the person you saved. Is he okay? He is. And he wants to meet you, said Falcão with a slight smile. Rafael received Falcão's report a week later. I found out more than I expected, said the detective gravely. What is it? Falcão opened a folder. Diego Silva. He's not just an ex-convict. What do you mean? His father, Carlos Mendes, was a partner with a man named José Carlos Silva in an import company in the 1990s. They imported electronics from China. Everything was legal, until it wasn't. I've never heard of it. Your father got off scot-free. José Carlos was arrested for money laundering. A shipment of cell phones was hiding cocaine. The police found it. Only José was arrested. So what? He swore his innocence. He said he was set up, that his father knew everything, but turned him in to save himself. Is this serious? Yes, José served 12 years. He was ill after leaving. He died 2 years later. He left behind a wife and a son, Diego. Rafael remained silent. Diego, is he the son of my father's partner? He asked, his voice trembling. Exactly. And your father never helped the family. Quite the opposite. He blocked donations, prevented jobs, even sued the widow for slander. My father did this, he said, shocked. Yes, to protect the reputation of the Mendes family. Falcão handed over an old photo. Rafael looked. My God. Diego has my father's eyes, she whispered, tears in her eyes. And your grandfather's nose. It's family, Rafael. Only no one told me. And does he know? No. His mother, Dona Iracema, hid everything. To protect him from the pain, from the hate, from the past. Rafael got up. He walked around the room. So, the man who saved me is the son of the man my father destroyed, he said, his voice breaking. And the grandson of the man your grandfather called brother. And I ignored him. Like everyone else, he murmured, embarrassed. Rafael went to Pirituba. He found Diego in the workshop. I know everything, he said, his voice firm but emotional. What? Your father, my father. What happened? Diego stepped back. I don't want to know about the past. But you have the right. Your father was wrongfully imprisoned. My father turned him in, and I live off the money from that crime, he said, pained. So what do you want? Guilt? Forgiveness? I want to correct it. How? I'll reopen the case, hire the best lawyers, clear your father's name. And then, does he come back from the dead? No, but justice can be done. And you can have what's yours. What is mine? A dirty name? A stolen life? A chance. He replied hopefully. Diego looked at him, his eyes filled with pain. Do you think money can erase that? No. But it's a start, he said humbly. Rafael kept his word. He hired a law firm specializing in case review. They reopened Jose Carlos Silva's case. They found evidence, messages, witnesses, and a former employee who confessed to being bribed to incriminate Jose. After 6 months, the Superior Court of Justice overturned the conviction. Jose Carlos's name was reinstated. Dona Irachema cried when she saw the news in the newspaper. My husband was innocent, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. He always told the truth. Rafael visited the house. I brought this, he said, gently handing over an envelope. Inside, a symbolic but significant compensation, $500,000. And a letter. Diego, you gave me a second chance. I didn't deserve it, but you gave it to me. Now I return something that is rightfully yours. Justice. And if you want, a place by my side. Not as an employee. As a partner, let's build something new. Something real, with respect, with redemption, with love. Rafael, Diego read it. He put the letter in his pocket. I accept. But on one condition, he said, his voice firm. Which? Let's use this to help others like me, ex-convicts, forgotten, judged, he replied passionately. Fair enough, Rafael agreed. With a sincere smile, a year later, the NGO Raiz was born, headquartered in Pirituba. Training workshops, psychological support, and guaranteed employment for those released from prison. Diego became coordinator. Rafael, patron. Camila, the nurse, heard the story. She felt ashamed. She posted a video on social media. I stopped. I saw the man. I called emergency services, but I didn't touch him. I was scared. I was lazy. I was judgmental. And an ex-con did what I, with all my training, didn't have the courage to do. I apologize. And I promise, next time, I won't pass him by, he said, tears in his eyes. His voice choked with regret. Andre Luis, the pastor, was invited to an event organized by the NGO Raiz. He took the stage, looked at Diego and said, I was wrong. I thought praying was enough. But God works through the hands of those who act. And you, Diego, were God's hand that night, he said, his voice trembling with humiliation and admiration. And he hugged Diego. The hug lasted 30 seconds. But it healed decades. 5 years later, the NGO Raiz had 12 units in Brazil. More than 80% of the ex-prisoners who passed through there were employed. Far from crime. Diego wrote a book, The Man Nobody Saw. It became a bestseller. In an interview, they asked, do you hate the past? No, I feel compassion. For myself, for my father, for Rafael, for all those who judge before knowing. He replied calmly. And what did the accident teach you? That good has no class, nor clothes, nor past, he said with conviction. And the evil is indifference. It's passing by. It's thinking that because someone has fallen, they don't deserve a helping hand, he concluded, his voice firm. Rafael next to him added, and that sometimes the savior is the man you fear the most, he said, his voice thick with emotion. On the wall of the NGO Raiz headquarters, there is a black and white photo. The car overturned in the rain, with the silhouette of a man running towards it. Below, a phrase engraved in wood. Your neighbor isn't always who you choose. Sometimes, it's who chooses you. And next to it, a simple sign, Diego Silva, founder, ex-convict, Samaritan. Every year on October 12th, the team gathers at the accident site, not to remember the pain, but to remember that in the darkest night, a man with a backpack decided it was worth stopping, and by stopping, he changed more than just one life, but the fate of a family, the course of justice, and the meaning of being human.